Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Good evening, I'm Suzanne Marquez.
And I'm Peter Dowd. Here's something you may not have heard in a while. Rain is on the way. A lot of clouds out there as we look live outside. Let's get right to meteorologist Amber Lee with our first check of the forecast. Amber, rain?
Oh my gosh, Peter, Suzanne, we haven't talked about this in a very long time, but take a look at the radar. It is picking up a lot of activity, and it's all because of Hurricane Rosa still spinning off the coast of Mexico, but it is streaming in a lot of that tropical air. We had reports of sprinkles in some areas of Southern California today. Areas like Hawthorne and also Pasadena, and then we also have some Virga. So you could, and that's when we have rain coming out of the clouds, but the surface is too dry, so none of that makes it to the ground. But we have a lot of the mid-level moisture really pushing in, so you can start to see much more cloud cover. But take a look, Lake Arrowhead, we have a lot of clouds over here, but to the south of Lake Arrowhead, to the north of Beaumont, we do have a rain cell that is dropping in some moisture, especially up near the mountains. Indio also being affected right now, looking at some rain clouds sitting overhead, but we're going to see a lot more of this activity once we head into the next 24 hours. Most of it right now to the east of us. It's also bringing some blowing dust to the California-Arizona border, and we also have flash flood watches in place. I have more details on what we can expect as we head into the next couple of days. Back to you.
Thanks, Amber. A fire at an oil well in Santa Paula sent a huge plume of thick black smoke into the air. The Ventura County Fire Department tweeted these photos this afternoon. The fire forced officials to shut down South Mountain Road. Fire officials say oil well equipment burned and threatened brush for a while. Firefighters kept it contained and no injuries were reported.
Today is the eve of the first anniversary of the Las Vegas massacre. 58 people were killed when a gunman opened fire during a country music festival. 1 year later, survivors and loved ones of the victims have gathered in Las Vegas to remember those killed.
CBS 2's Nicole Comstock is live in Las Vegas at the Guardian Angel Cathedral for a ceremony of hope and healing. Nicole.
Suzanne and Peter, this ceremony just got started about 15 minutes ago, and still people from all across Southern California are filing into Las Vegas this evening, certainly part of their healing process this weekend. And earlier this afternoon, we spoke with 3 survivors from Los Angeles.
I started doing all from right here all the way down.
They're raw.
Coming down to my initials.
The pieces of red tile Daniel Rosales laid in the wall.
Really touching to see everybody. You know?
All of the people who've come to the Las Vegas Community Healing Garden 1 year later.
Like I say, we're all family, so.
We are family. Many of who survived the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history and came back to reflect on how it changed them.
I just felt lonely at home hearing the noises that were getting to me now.
On how fortunate they are to be alive.
Witnessed a lot of people that didn't make it, and
so we ran down the grandstand and crawled underneath the platform.
For Jim Elkins and Irene Ramirez, the anniversary of the shooting comes right after the anniversary of their relationship. Jim asked Irene to the Route 91 Harvest Festival for one of their first dates.
We kissed, and I asked her if she wanted to go to a country music concert.
Having no way of knowing the horror that would unfold there and haunt them to this day.
a lot of us came knowing that we were all going to be here together to be able to support each other through it.
Thanks for coming.
And most of the people we met with today say it's surreal to be here 1 year later and to see all those faces they haven't seen in all that time. But at the same time, they say it definitely helps to heal with them. In Las Vegas, Nicole Comstock, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Nicole. And back here at home, victims of the shooting were honored in Corona, where a baseball field was renamed in their memory.
The athletic field at Eagle Glen Park is now Remembrance Field in honor of the 58 people killed a year ago. This morning, community members joined survivors for a special ceremony. A plaque was unveiled to honor 3 of the victims who called Corona home.
Austin Davis, Thomas Day Jr., and Christopher Roybal were part of Corona. This was their park and their community. Their families are still part of Corona, and their loss should be one we all feel.
One of the victims, Thomas Day Jr., was a lifelong Corona resident who played Little League and later coached a baseball team in the city. We will continue our live coverage from Las Vegas tomorrow as the city marks the 1-year anniversary of the tragedy.
The danger from street racing sideshows is growing, and law enforcement in Riverside has had enough.
A crackdown on these dangerous stunt shows in Jurupa Valley led to arrests at Agua Mansa Road and Market Street. But in the scramble to escape, a crash occurred nearby on Agua Mansa Road and Brown Avenue. And drone video captured a street takeover in Rialto. It's amazing video. And CBS2's Joy Benedict has the latest.
They are becoming the new sights of the Inland Empire, tire marks and torn up parking lots. As street racing sideshows are taking over Saturday nights. But for law enforcement, this is no joyride, which is why the Riverside County Sheriff's Department said enough is enough, cracking down on reckless driving and making numerous arrests. This drone video shows the congestion from high above, wrong-way drivers stopping traffic at intersections and even the 60 freeway, performing dangerous stunts. And as deputies swooped in, the fear of arrest sent drivers scrambling. This car slammed into a trailer carrying cattle. Thankfully, both drivers walked away, but the reckless one left in handcuffs, as did this driver about a mile away. He took off fast, slamming his car into a utility pole. Unfortunately, though, he also had a passenger, and he was carried away in an ambulance with very serious injuries. It's the worst-case scenario for what's becoming a far too common pastime on these roads. But these street racing sideshows aren't just dangerous, they're also very destructive. I mean, take a look at this intersection here. You can see all the donuts that were done here in the asphalt, ripping that up, tearing up the paint on the sidewalk. All that will need to be replaced and repainted. Yet another hazard of a dangerous activity, one law enforcement wants stopped before it becomes deadly. Joy Benedict, CBS 2 News.
Caught on camera, a car crashes into a market. It happened in Jurupa Valley around midnight. The owner of Chewy's Market said the intersection has been a haven for reckless driving.
I think people should drive slower. You know, we got family here. Luckily, we're closed and there was no kids here. Oh, they were flying. They were going fast. Everybody takes that turn really fast. I don't know, for some reason, there's always a lot of accidents.
The store owner also said he has seen about 6 crashes near his store in recent years, but this marked the first time that a car actually ended up in his market.
Still ahead, Amber will be back with your wet forecast.
And it is Ciclavia with a twist, a musical twist. The LA Philharmonic celebrates its centennial season with Car Free Festival. That's next.